This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Portugal South. But before that, this video is brought to you by Nuka-Cola and Uberk. Thank you for being farm barons. So Portugal South can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now let's read a little bit of the description. Map based on the southern region of Portugal with real relief, which I believe what it means is real terrain elevation changes. The map brings its own space marked for factories. So the map has some very interesting areas laid out around, clearly indicating what factory the map author thinks should go there. We're going to take a look at that. 3 points of sale, 26 fields of various sizes, and also farm space with farmhouse silos and sheds. Well, with that, let's go ahead and jump on in. We're going to go ahead and leave all the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, and field calculator. We're going to pull up the log and watch the map load on in. I will say that I loaded this map up in farm manager mode, and when I did that, the main farm is laid out exactly how you're going to see it here, except for the fact that there is no machinery. And here we are. So I do happen to know that for new farmer mode, the map is going to consume 774 slots. That's what's going to be in your save game as far as used slots. For farm manager, it's going to be 664. And basically the difference is going to be the lack of machinery, because that is really the only difference between farm manager and new farmer mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Take a look at the lands area. You're going to see that we start out by owning the main farm, which is this location right here, as well as field 3. We can buy a big chunk of land around the main farm and field 3 for 148 acres of farmland for just a mere $120,000. Pretty darn cheap. Other plots of land, we've got factory areas scattered around the map. We have one $36,000, $54,000. We have a biogas plant, which is $151,000. Another factory area, $19,000, $20,000, and $15,000 respectively. We have forested areas and grass areas also on the map. $380,000 for this one. A forested area here for $191,000. Large section of forest in the north for $1 million for 67 acres of forest land. So we have all of our standard crop types available to us here on Farm Sim 22. And if we go down and take a look at our field calculator, we're going to see that we have 26 total fields on this map. And if we take a look at our field size, we've got field 16, which is 21 hectares size, field 17, which is 16, field 23 is 15, and 24, which is 13. Then we've got smaller fields like field 25, which is 3, field 26, which is almost 4, and field 11, which is 1.56 hectares in size. Our starting field is 4.3. We take a look then at our farmland lease screen. This is where we're going to see the farm lands. And remember, farmlands are not necessarily the farm field number. So, for example, farmland 32 includes field 3, and it is $242,000. Whereas farmland 2 includes several fields and is $120,000. So buyable farmland 1, which is 92 hectares in size, is $3.6 million. Then we have farmland 3, which includes field 16 at $1 million. Then we have our factory areas, which are $39,000, $37,000, $54,000, $36,000, and so forth. So we can see we have quite the array of farmland prices. And clearly, farmland 2 is significantly going to be what you're going to want to pick up, because you're going to get 60 hectares of farmland for just $120,000. Now let's go ahead and take a look here at our crop counter. We do have the base game crop counter. If we take a look at our prices screen, we're going to see that we do have the ability to sell most of our base game crops. So as it turns out, olives are the only crop that we cannot sell that are included in the map that we are able to grow. We can sell sugar beet cut. And then we move down here to our animal outputs. We do have the ability to sell eggs, wool, and milk. But for whatever reason, while there is a sawmill on the map, there isn't a place to sell wood chips. So do remember, if you are producing wood chips at the sawmill, or for whatever reason you are using a grinder or a chipper to make wood chips, you're not going to be able to sell them unless you put your own sell point down. Now, as far as silage, hay, straw, and grass, we do have the ability to sell those. And if we take a look at our production items, we do have the ability to sell most of our base game production, with the exception of fabric, which is odd because there is a spinnery on the map. And of course, spinneries produce fabric. And we also do not have the ability to sell chocolate on the map, which is rather interesting because we have a dairy. And dairies, of course, will produce chocolate with the add of sugar from the sugar mill, which we also have on the map. And then we also don't have the ability to sell planks, which again is odd because guess what? We have a sawmill, and sawmills make planks. Now, you can take the planks to a carpentry shop, which we don't have, and then make furniture. So I think maybe what the map author's intention is doing here is we can't sell fabric, but we can sell clothing. We have a spinnery, but we don't have a tailor. So you put a tailor down, and then you can basically process your fabric into clothing. We have a dairy, which can make butter and also can make chocolate, and then also can make cheese. Well, we can sell our butter and cheese, but we can't sell our chocolate. We have a sugar mill, and the dairy will also take sugar to make chocolate, but we can't sell it. But the problem is chocolate doesn't have a downline production. So we really need to be able to make or sell our chocolate. Planks, our sawmill makes planks. We can't sell the planks, but we could buy a carpentry, put the planks in, and then sell the furniture. So I think I understand what the map author's maybe intention is on possibly deliberately not having those production items. There does not appear to be a bulk line buy point, which isn't that big of a deal, but there's also no stone crusher placed down on the map. So either you're going to want to play with stones turned off, or you're going to have to put down your own stone crusher. Oops. Let's go ahead and take a look at our vehicles. All of our vehicles are new and well maintained. We don't have too many vehicles, but we do have a decent list. There are no animals pre-placed on the map. We do have contracts available, and there are no production chains owned at the start. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Valtra 8750 and the Massey Ferguson 3670 medium tractor. We have the Nova 330 harvester that is paired up with the PowerStream 500 grain header. There is no header trailer. We also have a 5-row Corn Champion corn and sunflower header. We have the Rudolph TDK 301 RP trailer, the Rabe EG39 cultivator, the Nordstein HK25 plus NS 3030 seeder, and then we have the Hardy Mega 1200L sprayer. We have the Amazon ZATS 3200 fertilized spreader, and then we have the small Massey Ferguson MF 1840 baby baler, and that rounds out our owned equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly jump over to our main farm here, and we're going to take a little quick farm tour. So we do have our farmhouse, which does include a sleep trigger, as you can see here. And the farmhouse has a wardrobe trigger on the side. And this is the Holt Bay the Rune farmhouse. And we actually do have all 20 collectibles are available on the map. So we do have the Holt Bay the Rune collectibles. And we may just find 1 or 2 of those collectibles during the rest of our map tour. But we're not going to be deliberate about pointing them out, but we just might run across a couple of those. Now, as far as the rest of the farm goes, we've got a couple farm sheds over here where most of our machinery is located. Some decorative elements right here that we cannot remove. In fact, everything you see here, other than the farmhouse, cannot be removed. So we can sell the farmhouse, but everything else is permanently embedded on the map. So with respect to, can the farms be customized? They cannot be customized in the fact that the the buildings and the decorative objects that are here around the farm cannot be removed. But there is ample space to put other things down around the farm. So I debated about giving this map how many points for the farms being customized criteria. I'm going to go ahead and just give it a half a point because we could put down other things in these open spaces. If this was a really small, tight farmyard and really there was no place to put anything else down, then the map would have gotten 0 points on that particular criteria. But since we do have areas that we could put other things down, we're just going to give it a half a point because we can't get rid of the water fountain. We can't get rid of these 4 buildings over here. We cannot get rid of the silo if we wish to swap that out, or those buildings over there, or the other decorative elements that are around. Speaking of our silo, we have our dump grate here, and then we have our fill pipe located right there. So that, let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll fly around the map, come back to our shop where we typically then will grab our Mahindra and drive around the sell points. As we get a little bit of altitude, I'm going to go ahead and pan down, and you can kind of get a sense for how much extra areas there is here at the main farm. You may not have a good sense for that from the kind of walking on the ground perspective. But there is some land here. You could put down, you know, a chicken coop. You could put down a couple of the smaller animal areas. You could definitely put down more sheds here. Maybe some small production items you could possibly also put down here at the main farm. Let's go ahead and just take a look around the map. Pull up the PDA so we have a full look at PDA. Right now we are basically looking due north at one of the sell points, way off in the distance there. You see overall the map is relatively flat with some subtle rolling hills and undulations in the terrain. Most of these fields are separated by rows of trees and kind of dirt roads that you could plow up if you wanted to merge these fields together. Just require a little bit of tree removal, and then there you go. Bob's your uncle. We have the main drag down here where a lot of the factories are placed, as well as some empty yards where factories are kind of intended to go. Way off in the south, you're not going to be able to see it from here, but when we do our fly around, you will notice there actually is some pre-placed grapevines down to the south. Now, there isn't a grape processing facility on the map, but there is a place for you to put one down should you so wish. So with that, let's go ahead and kind of start taking a look around the map. So here we have the dairy. Dairy is pre-placed, located right there. We have big field 24. Some trees. Now these trees are likely not going to be cuttable by the tree harvesters. If you're going to want to cut these trees, you're going to have to probably come in here and do it manually. We have our biogas plant, which we need to buy before we can make use of it. And once we buy it, we'll have our triggers pop up. We have 2 very large 3-sided silage bunkers. And then we also have a fairly bit of space here where we can add additional silage bunkers, machinery, or other items to this area once we buy it. But again, we won't be able to make use of the biogas plant until we actually purchase the land. North of field 23, we have the sugar mill. This is just the base game sugar mill. So we have our interactive trigger, we have our pallet spawn point, and then our dump point around the back of the sugar mill. As we come up here, we have one of those open kind of factory areas. And all of these open plots, really, you could put whatever you want. But the suggestion is this is where the tailor would go, because all of these are going to have kind of signage at the entry as to, I think, what the map author intended you to put there. So the tailor is theoretically supposed to be placed there. We have our sawmill over here to the north. And this is a production sawmill, so we could sell our logs if we wanted to, or we could buy the sawmill and then make use of production of planks. But like I said, we do not have the ability to sell planks, so in order to make use of those planks, we would need to then put down a carpentry shop in order to then make some furniture. Here we have one of our grain sell points. And we're going to have to go through here. There's the dump station for that. Then between fields 19 and 20, we have, I believe this is a gas station over here. If I'm remembering from my kind of cursory look. Yep, here we have our fuel station. Then as we continue on, we have another one of those open areas for us to put down production. This is intended to be the cereal factory. Of course, to put down the cereal factory, we would also need to put down the grape processing facility, because we do not have a way at the moment to make raisins. We have a little bit of a pond off in the distance here. And then directly below, we have what should be the carpentry. So if we make our planks, then we would put our carpentry theoretically here, so the signs match up. And then this is where we would bring our planks in order to produce furniture. Continuing down along the edge of field 14, we're going to come up to another area for you to put down production. And this is going to be geared for the flour mill. So here we have the grain mill. Now, with regard to production, there are 5 production areas already on the map. We're coming up to the spinnery right now. We have the sawmill, which we've already seen, the biogas plant we've already seen, the dairy, the sugar mill, and the spinnery. So this is the last production area that is pre-built into the map. So this is our base game spinnery. We come up here, this is going to be the other grain sell point on the map. It's going to be here around the back. So right there is the dump grate for the second grain sell point. Just south of field 26 is where we're going to find the grapevines. We can see those coming into view right below us here. So here we have some pre-placed grapevines. We have our animal dealership over here, and also our bale sell point for our animal dealership. So we we've already taken a look at the dairy, which is south of field 23, which is right over here to our left. We have another fuel point, large gas station, down here on the main drag. This is the entrance to our farm. Here we have, oddly enough, the grocery sell point here at the laundromat, but that's okay. And then we have our vehicle shop, which is exactly where we started when we spawned in for the very first time. Go ahead and grab our Mahindra. And we'll do our drive around. So also down here at the shop, we have our customized repair, sell, and trade trigger. Although we do not see any indicator marks as to where that might be. So let's just go ahead and hit F5 and see where that pops up. So here we have our customized repair, trade, and sell trigger here at the roll doors. But we are missing the indicator markers on the ground. So that will affect the score when we get down to the player and interactive areas being clearly marked. Now directly to, I guess, the east of the shop, we have another placeable, but this one is set up to be the grape processing facility. If we put that down, we have another placeable production facility here set up for the bakery. As we've seen, we've got the spinnery. During the fly around, we have our fabric spawn point. We have our dump station, our interactive icon. And again, if we buy the spinnery, ultimately we're going to need to put down the tailor in order to do anything with the fabric, or put down our own fabric sell point. Just do a little in-cab driving at this point. Get a little bit of lay for how the land is. How the map looks with all of these trees. Over here on this side, we're going to have our dump grate for our grain sell point. Located right there. So we're going to give the map a full point with respect to production. There are 5 built-in production areas and plenty of places set around the map for other production areas to be placed. With respect, can the map basically allow you to sell all of the base game crops, animal outputs, and base game production points? That would be a negative there, because we do not have the ability to sell olives. Also do not have the ability to process wood chips in any way, fabric, chocolate, or planks. So here we have one of those areas set aside for placement of production. This one is set aside for the grain mill. So I'm going to give the map 3/4 of a point, because there are a total of 5 fill types that are not able to be sold as far as crops and production go. Now, we also don't have a stone crusher. I don't think we have typically taken off. Maybe we have taken off with respect to missing a stone crusher. But again, if we even include the stone crusher, that's 6 out of a lot of fill types. I think just losing 1/4 of a point is respectable for that one. Can the farms be customized? So we are going to give the map, as I said earlier, a half a point for this, because while we can't delete the buildings or the silos at the farm or other decorative elements other than the house, there is areas for you to put other things down at the main farm. So to some degree you can customize the main farm, just not completely or fully. And that's where we're going to give the map just a half of a point there. So here have we the place to put down your cereal facilities. Thought that may have been a cartridge, but no, it was just a piece of grass. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique. Yes, they are, because all of these buildings are coming from the base game maps. None of these are custom buildings. Here we have another fuel point. And lo and behold, one of our game cartridges is right here at the little building. So there you go. That's one of 19. Have fun finding the rest. Oh, wait. What do we have here? Why, by George, we have ourselves olives. Now that makes not being able to sell olives even more confusing, because, well, we could process olives into olive oil, I guess. But I have to say, this is one of the first maps that I think I recall seeing both a grove of olives and a set of vineyards or grapes included on the map. And it's a little ironic that there isn't a way to sell olives, but we can, I guess, process those into olive oil if we put down an oil factory. So here we have the other grain sell point, located right here. Really easy to get in and out of both of those sell points with fairly large machinery, so that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Over here we have our sawmill. And on the back, we have all of the interactive areas. We have our build point for wood chips as a result of our sawmill production, but we really don't have any place to get rid of these wood chips. So I don't know what we're going to do when these wood chips fill up, because we have no place of getting rid of them. And we could put a sell point down. I think there are sell points that will let you sell wood chips, but you'd have to put those down. Again, we can't sell wood chips on the map. We have our buy point interactive area for the sawmill. We have our dump station for logs. We have our interactive log cell trigger and our plank spawn point. We would have to put down the carpentry facility in order to make use of the planks, or again, a sell point. Come on. As we continue to make our way around, we're going to have more of those pre-placed possible factory areas. We've already taken a look at those in the fly around, so there's, I believe that was, maybe it was the carpentry, possibly. A fairly large area over here to our left for grass, and a large field 23. We have our sugar mill, we have our interactive area, our pallet spawn point, and our dump station around back. So with respect to, are the triggers clearly marked? And overall they are. The only thing that the map is missing were those indicators at the shop to really tell you where you could customize, sell, and do all of that fun stuff at the shop. Feel a little bad in giving the map 3/4 of a point for that final review criteria just because of one missing trigger marker, or set of trigger markers, but that is the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. So that is going to be what we're going to have to do. So here we have our Matthews 42 gas station. Oh! Taking out a light bulb. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with the map getting a 4.0 out of 5. So we lost a 1/4 point on the ability to sell all the base game stuff. We lost a 1/2 point with respect to the farms being customized, and a 1/4 point with respect to the triggers being clearly marked because of that one area at the shop. So that equates out to a full 1 point loss, and therefore we are up to 4.0. So here we have a bale sell point down here at the animal dealer. We have our animal dealer trigger located right there. Our grapes are off in the distance on the other side of field 26 over there. We saw that during the fly around. All we have now to hit is going to be the dairy and then the biogas plant, and that's where we're going to then conclude this video. So what do you all think of Portugal South? Do you think it is worthy of a 4 out of 5 based on our review criteria? What do you rate it, and what are your criteria for rating maps? Here we have the Portugal South. That is our farm entrance. I think overall, from a design standpoint, the map is rather interesting. It's very interesting that we have so many fields that we can buy in one fell swoop for a fairly low price compared to a lot of the other parts of the map. It really will get you going with probably, what, a good dozen fields for just $120,000. Fairly modest investment when you're starting out on new farmer mode. You will have to take out a little bit of a loan, but if you were starting out on farm manager mode, you can definitely pick up that. You can pick up the main farm and still have plenty of money to buy your machinery. So we have our spout pond point. We have our dump station here at the dairy. Our interactive point around back. The dairy's actually placed backwards. In my opinion, it's placed backwards. And then right up the road, we have our VGA. I kind of like the trees, shadows over the road. So you only have the VGA. Two large 3-sided bunkers here. A lot of area to put down other bunkers, other buildings, other production items related to whatever you want to put down here once you bought the land. And then once you do buy the land, you're going to find all the triggers where they typically would be. So we've got our digester. We have our dump point for our slurry. We have our filled pipe for our digestate. And the interactive icon is going to be likely right here at these double doors. So guys, let me know, like I said, down in the comments below, what do you think of Portugal South? Is this a map that you are going to be looking to pick up and, well, make a road trip down to the southern hemisphere? It would be nice if the map author would have included a custom growth schedule. I understand that right now it's still fairly new, having Farm Sim 22 out. I don't think a lot of people know a lot of items about custom growth schedules at this point. It's something I hope that we see in more and more maps in the future. But for now, we're just going to be using either the default growth schedule if you play with seasonal growth, or just turn seasonal growth off and have yourself a good old time. So until next time, happy farming.